The Controlled Substance Act was an act signed by Richard Nixon, which made the use of recreational psychedelics illegal and halted the research on psychedelics from the 1970s all the way to the 2000s. In a moment, I will inform you about psychedelics, the research behind it, and the benefits that it could bring to mental health. In order to talk about psychedelics, we need to know what they are. Now, the Alcohol and Drug Foundation in January 2024 states that psychedelics, also known as hallucinogens, are a class of psychoactive substance that alters the brain function. Psychedelics form a big part of the drug wheel, which many researchers on substances use. Now, various good differences of psychedelics come as ayahuasca, LSD, DMT, and salvia. Those are just some of the psychedelics that come from the whole branch. Now, back to the brain functions. These include the perception, mood, cognitive process, personal thinking, sense of time and place. Psychedelics come in many forms: tablets, dried mushrooms, powder, liquids, and more. Of course, with any type of substances, either recreational or medicinal, comes a various factor of risk, which is loss of sleep, vomit, diarrhea, headaches, and etc. There's many more. Now, according to the National Institution of Health, April 2023 tells us that the effects coming from psychedelics are difficult to predict and varies depending from factors. Some factors include the amount of psychedelics that you take, the potency, the personal biology of one person, the sex, personality, history, mood, and most importantly, the mindset, expectations, and surroundings. Of course, when there are two types of psychedelic trips, one that is in state of euphoria, or I guess a sense of oneself, and the second one being bad trips. Bad trips can cause fear, confusion, and panic, which can make a person erratic and make their behavior suicidal or harmful, not just towards them, but towards other people. In some cases, after the psychedelics cause a condition called hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, which are flashbacks of the trip lasting seconds up to minutes. These can occur right after taking the drug or many, many years later. The National Library of Medicine, February 9, 2024, explains that CSA establishing federal policy to regulate manufacturing, distribution, importation, and use of substances. PubMD, Central and Psychedelic Drugs, A New Era in Psychiatry, June 21, 2019. Psychedelics were used extensively before and after the ban, effectively stopping the research on it. PubMD was an early use of prescription drugs, October 2021. The promising that treatment was in 1960s primarily because of, but also tighter regulation, failure of clinical trials, and not meeting expectations. The resurgence of clinical studies on psychedelics on this new source, psychedelic drug, A New Era in Psychiatry, the process of resuming from two parallel directions. One was the development of neuroimaging and the other clinical studies. Now, for in Johns Hopkins Medicine, it shows us a timeline of their research, which starting from the 2000s, the approval of researching with psychedelics. In 2006, the revival of psilocybin, and in 2004, magic mushrooms, which are psilocybin, helps with the long time smokers quit. And lastly, for 2022, magic mushrooms help with depression.